I'm Sean. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Well, and especially welcome to those of you who haven't been to the meetup before. I suppose the normal format is we usually have somebody who's done something cool, do a little bit of a talk, and then either before or after that, Matt will normally do like a roundup of just some, little tidbits of news and bits and pieces like that. Yeah, tonight, I mean, as usual, he normally brings along heaps of hardware, but he's brought even more this time, including some Lego stuff. And we've got an Xbox controller that we're hoping to hook up to that and get that working. So yeah, I guess I'll just whip through a little bit of a news roundup and then we can get into playing with some actual hardware. So yeah, all right. By the way, this is the most people we've had at one of these for quite a while. So I'll continue off them well. Okay, there was a new MicroPython release. Version 1.22.2, just a patch release for some of these, the RP2 and the ESP32 port. I won't read all of this, but yeah, a few little minor fixes there. I thought this was pretty cool. The Arduino Alvik, which it's not like it hasn't been done before, a little line following robot kind of thing, but this is a it's actually built sort of as a, I guess, like an expansion board for the Arduino Nano ESP32, which it's not available yet, but I guess the idea is it comes with one of these and they're obviously targeting education with it. It's got heaps of built-in sensors, line following, it's got a time of flight distance sensor, an accelerometer and a gyroscope, as well as proximity and color sensors. So yeah, I guess there's heaps of cool stuff that you could potentially do with one of these. It'd be cool to get one of these too, actually, Matt. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I guess since, well, sort of a little while now, Arduino have kind of been, using MicroPython, I guess, as their language of choice. So yeah, this thing comes, or when it is released, will come out of the box with MicroPython support and everything like that from Arduino. Hopefully, we will see one when they come out. All right, what's the? Oh yeah, right. This is interesting. Can a vintage microcontroller from 1985 run MicroPython? No, of course not. But especially this particular one, I thought was an interesting little demonstration. I don't know where on earth you would actually get one of these things. The Radio Shack Science Fair microcomputer trainer. But anyway, if you can find one with its 4-bit architecture and 512 bits of RAM, this little project, I guess, just takes you through a little introduction to how that works and how back in the mid-80s you would learn to be a computer programmer. And then, I mean, to be honest, the link between MicroPython and this is a little bit tenuous because they then do an almost entirely separate MicroPython project and then hook that up as an IO to the computer trainer thing. But yeah, it's a good little segue into, I guess, how computers of old used to work. It's kind of nice. They've got some diagrams in there and whatnot of how the architecture actually works, and because it's it's only got 4 bits, so there's only so many things it can do, and it's yeah, it's sort of simple enough to actually comprehend rather than modern CPUs do all sorts of things that I don't think any single person can actually understand how the whole thing works all at once. But yeah, it's a fun little read up. Alrighty, on to some software stuff. There's much requested an MP remote extension for VS Code. It is, I mean, if you're already used to using MP remote, doesn't actually add any extra features, but brings it into the one environment, hopefully make it a little bit easier, if you're getting started, or if yeah, I guess you like to keep everything all in the one place. So Dave's Code Musings on GitHub, so feel free to check out the links. And then yes, in fact, Laurens, who's also on the call with us here, but yes, we've, as I mentioned just before, we brought in an Xbox controller and some Lego. Which actual controller have we got? I know there's a few different ones. No, I mean, of the Lego ones.
The Lego one? Yes. Laurens, if you're online, can you remember the name of the devices that you've given us?
Yeah, I think I sent you a few Technic Hubs, so that must be the ones.
Yeah. So yes.
Just for reference, like it works with any of the smart bricks?
Yes, yes, that's right. So yeah, any of the the compatible PyBricks devices. Yeah, well, I've got a link there to your video, Laurens, of yeah, showing off using the blocks to program driving a Lego car around using an Xbox controller, which, yeah, we're going to hope to get that set up shortly. Yes, so you won't need to see the video, you can just watch it in real life.
Or do it yourself. We have many of these.
Yes, well, they've only got one controller.
We have previously got it working with a nunchuck that we have here, which was sending commands to a computer via serial, which is then sending Bluetooth to the thing. So we hook up cool stuff.
Can do that. We could probably drive it just from the computer as well, I guess, if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So cricket's in February, which, given that it's probably 38 degrees in here, you could probably not need too much of an imagination to know what that might sound like at the moment. But Stuart Russell lives in Canada, where
He's
it's
online.
ah,
He just turned his camera on.
all right.
That's some pain, unfortunately.
There you go.
it's what,
Where I gather it's cold at the moment.
Hey everyone. It's not as cold as it should be, but it's pretty cold, yeah.
So yes, I liked your little write-up, making pretend crickets. Yeah, that's given that they are temperature dependent, they would be chirping very quickly in here at the moment. But yeah, that was a good little, I quite like that right up there. Good, you know, introduction on doing like a simple algorithm and implementing that in MicroPython, and then, you know, using the outputs of that to control, yeah, control some hardware. All right, I didn't actually see a real one of these in the flesh, but there's a nice 3D rendering of make your pet make a hexapod, which certainly sounds really cool. I guess given enough time, I suppose there are 3D printers here, and there's probably enough bits of hardware. But yeah, but anyway, it seems like there's a whole video series on YouTube of yeah, putting together one of these little sort of insectoid robots. Based around a Pymoroni Servo 240, which is a, you know, Raspberry Pi 2040 based board. They've got lots of information available, although it seems geared more towards if you're sort of interested in doing something like this yourself. It's kind of, you know, there's not so much a start to end guide as more of a starting point for you to kind of use a little bit of your own creativity. So yeah, probably a bit more of an advanced project.
The interesting here is all the STL files are all available for download and printing just immediately. So it's
Yeah, that's right. So certainly, if you're sort of software inclined, I guess the hard part could well be trying to actually design the mechanical aspects of it. So yeah, you can you know, given a 3D printer, you could print those all out and get started. I thought this one was a little bit of fun too. Also because I haven't got one of these, but I've got a similar Ethernet ESP32 board that I one day will do something with, but you know, we all know how that goes. Yeah, WizNet have done a little demo hooking up one of those to Telegram with a moisture sensor to yeah, send you a message when your plants need watering. So it's a neat little short project. This one was interesting too. You had a cryptic link in there where someone had said something about this but didn't say what it was. I had to work backwards from the pictures, but believe it or not, the Nigerian government organised an educational event in conjunction with the Raspberry Pi Foundation, and yeah, it looks like a bunch of you know, high school kids worked on doing a bunch of different projects. As you know, some I guess more advanced than others. I think this picture here was someone had built like a model sort of smart city kind of thing using a bunch of Raspberry Pi Picos and some MicroPython and whatnot. So yeah, good to see. Alrighty, now Matt normally has a really long and well, not really long, as in there's usually heaps of hardware to do a roundup of, and I didn't quite get the time to go through all of it, so I've just picked a few sort of key highlights. But my favorite, the Bus Pirate 5, I really do want to get one of these. If you haven't used one before, the Bus Pirate, it's just like a handy, you know, little protocol analyzer, multi-tool kind of thing that's yeah, really nifty for doing, I guess, all sorts of you know, hardware kind of programming, that sort of thing. Yeah, handy for figuring out what might be going on with like a pesky I2C or SPI bus or something like that, that sort of thing. This latest version also has a programmable power supply built into it. I think it's only up to 500 milliamps, but yeah, the fact that it's you know, kind of includes that in the box makes it super handy for whatever your project might be. It was that's right. It was actually so this so Hackaday have done a detailed write up on it. It sounds like the software running on it is maybe not as advanced as some of the previous bus pirates yet, but there seems to be there's commits every day on it. They're actively working on it. So $38 US. I think. Well, I'll certainly actually be trying to get work to buy some of those for us.
We also talked about using MicroPython to control the bus to actually be the firmware for that bus. So
okay.
there's some discussion about the pros and cons of that as well.
Yeah, because I guess because that's right. It's got like a sort of text-based console interface to it, which is also kind of neat because unlike some other similar sort of products, you don't need to install some slightly clunky proprietary sort of software package for it. It's it's just a serial interface that you'd use to get like your MicroPython REPL as you're already used to. Alrighty, the Electrosmith Daisy Seed. So this one sounds interesting. I guess there's there's all sorts of different boards and all sorts of different form factors these days. This one stands out for being a little bit different because it's got some audio stuff built into it. So it's got a stereo audio interface, I guess presumably a DAC of some sort, and also quite a powerful Cortex M7 CPU in there. So it doesn't have MicroPython support, sort of advertised from the manufacturer, but MicroPython runs easily on the on all of these higher end STM parts. So shouldn't be too hard to get that up and running. It's got 64 megabytes of RAM to use for audio buffers. So that's I guess something that we haven't seen on too many other boards. $22. All right, and I don't know how they find the time, but just a couple of picks from what Waveshare have come out with recently. The RP2040 BLE. I guess if you're their use case was if you're not interested in Wi-Fi but you want Bluetooth, then this is the part for you. I think it's what $6.50 or something like that. Very cheap. It has it seems like the Bluetooth controller's got like a AT sort of interface on it. They give they've got a wiki page and some reasonably good examples for using both Arduino C++ code, but also MicroPython as well on how to get that set up. And they've got a few example projects and things like that, including connecting it with some sort of like BLE scanning app, so that kind of shows you a few more than just a hello world basically. And $6.50. Alrighty, and I think maybe last in the hardware. Have you got one of these yet, Mark?
Not yet.
Not yet. So we'll have one of these soon enough, I'm sure. So ESP32, but instead of with Espressif's in-house architecture, this one's a RISC-V processor instead. So 96 megahertz on this guy with reasonable amount of RAM and ROM and whatnot. It's also interestingly got built-in Bluetooths for radios for Bluetooth, Zigbee, and Thread, because they actually all use the same little bit of spectrum. So I imagine you probably can't use them in parallel because I'm not sure what MicroPython support it might offer at the moment, but given MicroPython's got pretty good support for the ESP32, I should hope that it's.
Don't know if we got builds for the H2 yet. It might be far away. Getting it working with the radios.
Yeah, the radios might be a little bit.
That's a good one.
Yeah, if you wanted to do something immediately, you might actually be better off with the AT interface on the on this previous one, because it's a little bit more limited, but it takes care of the software side of implementing the Bluetooth stack. Whereas I guess here, there's still some work ongoing to be done to get the Bluetooth or Thread or Zigbee working in MicroPython. That was that. So this is a tweet from Mark B139. I can't remember what he had his. Anyway, at one point I was debugging a C extension on MicroPython in one VS Code window and debugging Python code in another. it was at that point that I realized what an amazing set of low-cost tools we have access to. And yeah, couldn't agree more. It's certainly pretty cool that yeah, basically all of the things that we work with here, you can get access to. Oh, apart from the cost of the hardware, everything else is yeah, open source. So, love to see it. Alright, and yeah, I guess that's about all I have for this month. So I guess we've ordered some pizza, and then other than that, I'm pretty keen to start playing with some Lego and some Xbox controllers.
See which
I've got a bit of Lego, not that bad. Oh, that's very cool. It is, it's massive. That's too cool.
Pay $2 in it.
How much
There's like that doesn't
Yes. That is too cool.
Oh well.
Get the idea.
All Lego.
It's not quite as easy as it looks.
It doesn't look
No, it doesn't look easy either.
There's a big dock here in Melbourne. I'm sure you can get a job. It'll be fine. Yeah.
I guess by crane driver takes quite a lot.
Yeah, I've actually been wondering what the proper configuration would be for a crane driver.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like even if it perfectly worked, I'd be concerned if the crane driver was using an Xbox controller. But it would be pretty cool. Just standing on the ground, just like, oh.
Yeah, so the standards and stuff were all
I saw it strung with a wrecking ball, right? And I had the, well,
Nicely done.
Really, to control it.